What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scalp Solutions Podcast. I am your host, David Santiago, and today I got with me Dennis Romero. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Just happy to be here.
Yo, brother, I appreciate you taking out some time, jumping on the podcast. You know, we're going to get into some good stuff today, talk about some training, talk about your come up. I'm excited, man.
Me too, man. Me too.
So check this out, man. Let's dive right into it. I want you to tell everybody where you're from and the studio that you represent.
Originally, I'm from New York.
New York.
Yeah, New York. I've been a transplant like so many now. So many New Yorkers. It's like the sixth borough down here. But now I'm in Orlando.
There we go. I was about to say, sounds like you're in Florida.
But I've been down here for a while. So I'm based in Orlando, Florida. And that's where my studio is based out of.
And what's the name of your studio, my brother?
It's Vanguard SMP.
Vanguard SMP. Talk to me. What's behind the name?
So it's always a word that I've liked. You know what I'm saying? It's like a power word, and it's an old form of the word avant-garde.
Okay.
But avant-garde is more. It's usually used to describe some type of art form, right? It's relegated more to the art world, whereas vanguard can be more broadly applied. So it could be a military endeavor, it could be art, it could be different things, and it basically just means, it means cutting edge.
Got you. No, it sounds business, and the reason I say that, I ask because you have the Vanguard, the SMP 500, which is index funds, and now
it was a little bit of wordplay.
Okay, got you.
Vanguard, SMP.
Hey, listen, brother, it sounds good. It's legit. It's nice, sweet, simple, and it's got a powerful meaning. I dig it. How long have you been in the SMP industry?
It's coming up on 4 years. March will be 4 years since the time that I trained.
Got you. And what were you doing prior?
I was actually a massage therapist. I was like a straight up hippie.
Yeah. Wow. That's an ill change, bro. So how did that happen, bro? How did SMP come into play?
So clearly, I was losing my hair, right? I lost my hair at 19. And I was one of those that I didn't want to be bald. You know what I'm saying? Some people are totally okay. I've offered my services to cousins and stuff, and they're bald, and they're like, it's like it doesn't register for them. And then you have the other type, which is nah, I don't want to be bald. Right. So you go through this process of trying to figure out how you're going to remedy the situation. And I did everything short of a hair transplant, which thank God. So it was on my radar for a long time. I remember the first time that I searched for hair tattoo, there was nothing. There was nothing came up. The search was dead. So I let it go for a while. And then a few years later, I searched again, and the name that came up was Weston, Mark Weston. Yeah, that was the name that came up. So I looked, and I was like, whatever, that's interesting. That's something that I definitely would want to look into. But I was settled in what I was doing, and we get complacent. It's this is what I know. I'm making decent money. So there was nothing driving me to immediately take the jump into SMP.
Got you.
Until I had back-to-back accidents. And they tore up my back. So it was it got to the point where it was I was working in agony, cold sweat, giving a massage. I can't do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so, I my back was up against the wall. I said, this has been on my mind for so long. This is the time. I picked up I searched again, picked up the phone, made the phone call, and, Fernando was on the other end, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. And you found one of the best to go.
Dude, I struck gold. I was what are the chances that person was in my backyard?
So check this out, because now you've just created a whole wave of other questions that I want to ask you, because I did not know. I know we do a little behind the scenes, but I don't try to get too much into it because I don't want it to take away from this.
Yeah.
You are a massage therapist, right? Dude, I know that's an incredibly tough job because even me, when my girl wants me to give her like a 10-15 minute massage, brother, my fingers be
You
all
realize about 10 minutes into it that you're
it ain't
like,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
There's
no,
nothing
no.
sexy about this shit. No more. It's just,
Oh man, no, definitely.
but here's the deal, right? Because as SMP artists, and I don't know if you could appreciate this because you've put your hands through a whole other realm of like, I'm gonna say torture. It might not be torture, but dude, I can't do 3 clients in one day because my hand just feels like it's cramped. Like, do you feel like because of your prior experience as a massage therapist, is that not an issue?
Well, it's a totally different thing. Because what cramps us is really that machine, like the way you're holding it, right? And the repetitive motion, like that's what the way that massage just works in a different way. But it has a wear and tear to it, but it's just a totally different wear and tear.
Okay, got you. Because I mean, like, man, like I said, 10 minutes, papi chulo mode on massage, that's it. It's over. Fingers is all cramping up, man. So what is it about SMP and why is it that you do it?
Really, it's just to help people. I mean, of course, the monetary gain, which is substantial, it plays a factor in everybody's decision. I think they're just lying if they say that the money isn't like attractive.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, as cliche as it sounds, having been through hair loss, it's just rewarding to be able to give that back to someone, to give that feeling of like confidence back to them. I had somebody like last month, a grown man, he turned around and he had tears in his eyes and he's like, he says, "Dennis, I'm never gonna forget you." And I'm like, and I'm really empathic that way. Like if you're upset, like it affects me. So I was like, whoa, I mean, it's just, those moments are priceless.
Yeah, that's incredibly excuse me, that's incredibly overwhelming, man. Like to hear, something like that, because getting back to what you said, yes, you people like to throw around, oh, you don't want to do this for money, which I kind of get it, but brother, like we're in business because
Right.
we want to make, there's got to be some capital gains there. I mean,
right. I mean, we got to live. We got to live. And so the fact that it will afford you a good income, a good lifestyle, if you practice well and are successful, then yeah, that's an incentive, no doubt.
yeah, man. And like, so for you, right? So essentially this client, he did he become emotional?
Yeah, he held back the tears, but they were clearly in the eyes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So I know for me, the first time that I experienced that, which is I like to tell, like it doesn't seem like it. I seem like there's like rough stuff, but I tell people I'm a freaking pineapple, man. I'm a father to 2 girls. They have converted. I'm a pineapple. I look.
Oh man.
So when the very first time I had a client that he
Yeah.
expressed that kind of, and I come from the barbering world, so we're overwhelmed with like, oh my God, you made me look so good, blah, blah, blah. And they give you a high five, but I've never had anyone get emotional. So when I saw that, like, bro, that hit me right here because it's like, man, this is another grown man. And, we've grown up in a society where like men are like, men don't cry. So like when you see it, it's kind of like, holy shit, man, like that really hits, that really hits home. And it's like, man, like what I'm doing is really like, man, this is great. I'm really changing lives. Is that like how you?
Yeah, because you recognize how deep it is for that person. You know what I'm saying? Like you recognize how impactful it is. Just it's going to change the way they walk through life.
Yeah, man. Insane.
So
and you know it firsthand. We know it firsthand because we're both bald men. But let me retract a little bit. You spoke about you tried any and everything, but do you also have SMP?
Yeah.
All right, because we didn't.
I have like my whole head is done.
Look at that guy right there. There we go. Why are you wearing a hat? You know what? I shouldn't be talking. I'm wearing.
I was going to ask you the same question.
It's part of me. You know what? I tell people now that I know I could wear a hat because I want to, and not because I'm hiding my McDonald's shape.
And it makes a world of a difference.
I'm wearing it. So let's talk about your come up, brother. What were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome to help you reach to the level that you're at today?
Just self-doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like wanting to produce a product that was a high-end product looking at the people's work who I admired the most, and just trying to, you know, like every day, like close the gap a little bit, close the gap a little bit, close the gap a little bit. Now you have to understand that I was at Hairline Studios. So closing the gap on Fernando was like,
yeah, you running for days.
ridiculous. I mean, it was like, you know, it was like, fuck, you know, but that pressure cooker, it was like an alchemical vessel that I was in, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's so high level, you know? And so it just cooked me a lot quicker as an artist, you know? And I mean, that's invaluable. You know, that level of experience is priceless. It's priceless.
Yeah. And you would want to, you know, I can only imagine what it is. I mean, like we all come in to the person who's teaching us, our mentor, and we look at them like, damn, like I really got to catch up to that. But you know, you went with someone who was like really, like,
yes. And I didn't know, like, because I didn't know about the industry. Like, I didn't know how, you know, like, you know, there's essentially some form of hierarchy in which, you know, the top artists are here, and then it cascades down to the people who are just starting.
And it's us.
So I was like, cool. I was like, oh man, I got an apprenticeship here. Awesome. But then we went to the Orlando Awards, and that was sort of like my introduction. It was my initiation into realizing, okay, this is the level that this studio is at and this artist is at. So then the pressure really came down, because like, I don't want to create work that is embarrassing to my teacher and my mentor. Like I have to step it all the way up. Like there's no room for like mediocre shit, you know? So, and that's just how it went down.
So you put an incredible burden on your shoulders, and you was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it happen. Now, with that being said, did you ever at any point, because I'm sure any newbie or even any seasoned artist that's listening to this now could understand, like, did you ever at any time feel like, you know what, I'm not doing this, I can't do this, like I'm not getting the learning curve, like I'm tapping out?
Never, because it was my only option. There was no plan B. That was it. So even though there were doubts, you know, there were like, you know, like, you know, I don't know, you know, but it was never to the point where I considered changing course.
Got you. That's awesome. You know, I like to pose that question, and I just like pose it to you because you know, lately I've been getting a lot of newbies or people that are looking to get into the industry. And a lot of these newbies are kind of like, yo, I've been doing this for 6 months and I'm ready to just like throw it in. And I'm like, 6 months? Like you think you did something? Like you crazy. I tell them people
that's the reality of it, man. You know, like because it's everybody says it's not easy, but it's really not. You know what I'm saying? And me, I came from an art background. So there's a certain level of cockiness, even if it's subconscious, that I could freaking make dots on somebody's head. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it seems so elementary, but then the actual like doing of it, like when you realize that there's a lot of elements that need to come together in order for you to produce a good product, it's an eye-opening experience, and it's a humbling one actually too.
Yeah, because it's like there's dots and then there's pointillism, which is like, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you know how to play basketball. Yeah, you understand the concept, but can you play ball? You know what I mean? So
exactly. And I mean, I had like, you know, like done like pointillism exercises in high school and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, and when you're in that world, like, you know, different like projects that were based on pointillism. But the difference is that you're working on skin, right? And skin can be unpredictable. It can be a whole lot of different things. So what I think is going to look like is not what it's actually going to end up looking like based on that person. So there's so many factors that are going to influence how it looks from person to person. You know what I'm saying? I could do something on pointillism in a piece of paper. That's nothing, you know, but it's skin.
You can erase. Now we got to worry about lasers. We don't want to worry about the lasers.
Exactly.
So check this out, Dennis. When give me a ballpark number in regards, not with years, clients. Like how many clients did you do when you felt like, you know what, I think I got this?
How many I did until I felt like I thought I got this? I'd say it was coming into like my first year, like the conclusion of my first year. I can't think about how many I had done, but it was at least that's the point where I felt like I shifted a gear and I said, all right, I can do this.
Got you.
Yeah, I remember the first client that I woke up that morning, I said, I'm not leaving that studio until that is the tightest SMP that I have ever done in my life. And it paid off. Like that was the moment that I looked at it and said, I did it. I did it. You know what I'm saying?
How was that as a change? Because I know that's a huge, I mean, and again, I can't compare mine with yours, but I could only imagine it's somewhat the same when it's like, oh my goodness, like, you know, now that next consultation, you just feel so much more confident. You're like, I'm gonna lace this dude up.
Yeah.
Was it like, I mean, bro, again, you come from an art background. I come from an art background. I think people think that they associate the barber background with like the cockiness, but it's just like as artists, that's what we do, man. Like we think we hot shit. So like, did you feel like that after? I mean, again, at least amongst, you know, within yourself, like, oh, yo, I got this. That's it. It's game over. I'm taking over.
Not 100%, but it was a vast improvement from those early months.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because I still, going into finishing that 1 year, I still didn't like know everything. I still don't know everything. Nobody knows everything.
Amen, brother.
But I was in a better place, like, because at that point I knew I can do this. Like I can do it professionally.
Got you. So obviously all that hard work and coming, you know, the adversity and overcoming those obstacles played off because you are now part of an incredibly successful team in our industry. And you are one of their pro artists, and that's with 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Yeah.
Talk to us about that, brother. How'd you get the call? How did it feel? What'd you have to do? Did they interview you? Like, how'd it go down?
Well, yeah, I got a message from Ryan Kingsbury. And he was the one that told me that he had brought my name up to the group. And that they all convened, and then they all felt that, you know, that I was a good fit for 5 p.m., which I like the fact that it happened that way, because I didn't want it to come from my mentor. I didn't want it to come from my teacher. At the end of the day, I wouldn't have cared, right? Because
that's still good.
Like, whatever, it is what it is. Yeah. But, you know, I didn't want it to feel like, oh, he's his mentor, so that's why he's in the group. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that it came from an outside source, Ryan in Canada, I've never even met Ryan. You know what I'm saying? So there was a moment of like validation from the fact that it came from an outside source. And it was just a good fit because like I know them, you know what I'm saying? Like legit, they're like that, like my SMP family, you know?
Dope. I mean, I would say this, if Fernando said to anybody that I was good to be part of the team, I'd be perfect. I'd be perfectly fine with that.
I mean, that's what I said. At the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered, but it was nice that it didn't necessarily have to come from him.
Gotcha. I get it. No, I get it. I'm just busting your chops, man. So do you offer training now? It's like is it through 5 p.m.?
Yeah, my training is going to be through Vanguard.
Got it.
Vanguard Academy, yeah.
Understood. So now what do you, as a trainer, right? As an SMP artist and a trainer, we all know, you know, what we need. So I'm assuming that you're going to have like a specific emphasis on your training.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, we all have to do the fundamentals, you know, we all have to cover the things that are at least going to get this person going in the industry, right? That first initiation into the industry, where we all know that person is still got to learn a hell of a lot more to practice SMP. Like that's just the reality of it, you know? So because of that, I want my training to be really, really like centered on post-training mentorships. Because they're critical, you know, they're absolutely critical. And you have to sort of arm yourself with the patience, knowing that there's going to be students that are going to ask you the same question 10 times.
Hell yeah.
you know, and I've had that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like when I've assisted Fernando in a training, you know what I'm saying? Like he's hella busy, you know what I'm saying? So I always extended myself to the students. Like, listen, if he's in the middle of of another training or a session, like just reach out to me. So I quickly learned that I was going to have to, when it was my turn to do it, really take my time to mentor people who are not ready, and tailor that mentorship, because everybody learns differently.
Right. And that's also a really big task to take up on. And I don't think a lot of
It's huge.
trainers understand,
It's
like,
huge.
it's more than those after those 3 days and that last day with the model, because now you have those days moving forward that even more questions are going to be asked than the last.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and nerves come into play. People forget, you know, just basic things that, you know, are like second nature to us, but to them, it's just like this whole new world.
Yeah, it's so foreign. So, that being said, Dennis, how important do you think it is for anyone looking to get into the industry for them to do their due diligence and vetting their whoever they're going to commit to paying to be their trainer?
I mean, it's crucial because, yeah, how could it not be? Like, I mean, you know, you have to investigate, you know, like what is this person's body of work? You know, first and foremost, as an artist, what's their body of work? Because that will speak on, um, hopefully what they're able to teach you, if they're a good teacher. Not, I don't think everybody has the temperament to be a good teacher, you know, just like with anything. There's doctors out there, but they suck at being a doctor.
Very true. That is
So,
very true.
you know what I'm saying? I think that, yeah, I think that it's critical that the person investigate who they're going to choose, because that's their starting point. That's your starting point.
So aside from potentially wasting anywhere from 4 to 5 grand on training, what are some of the other uh damages you can do to yourself by receiving substandard training?
Well, you're just going to lack the basic fundamental knowledge that you need to even just get going. And if you don't have that, and a lot of people don't, because if you see, you know what I'm talking about. Some of those images, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So I think segueing into something that I told you I wanted to mention, apprenticeships, I think are so important as well, because when an experienced artist chooses someone who they think might, you know, be good, be able to work at an elevated level at some point, and trains them, that only increases the amount of trainers that are in the industry and in the field who are training and operating at a high level, which will benefit other students. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's why it's going to be so central to my training, because how can I, who had the apprenticeships of all apprenticeships, you know what I'm saying, just throw them to the wolves? Like, yeah, I gave you my 4-day training, like, and be lax about that. I can't.
Yeah. No, and obviously you have, you have a business and a name to defend and honor,
Absolutely.
So are you looking, like, what would be give me what's your insight on a standard apprenticeship? Like, what would that consist of?
Well, I think I think at least 6 months. You know what I mean? 6 months to a year, I think, is a good time frame to really get everything that you need under your belt. You're still going to keep learning, but it's very different to have the opportunity to just observe that artist that has so much experience. Like, I learned so much just from watching. Like, my eyes were glued, right? And things would start to click. And I remember I'd give out these groans like, And then Fernando would look at me and be like, what? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm just
Yeah.
something in my head. Don't worry about it.
It hit the brain housing group. It's like, this is,
Yeah, you know, and it was like constant, just like, And then, like, from there, I was able to begin to try to apply some of that to the work that I was doing. You know what I'm saying? It always becomes your own. It sort of takes on your own flair, because you're two separate people. But that is is so valuable. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, it expedites everything for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you, did you ask Fernando if he was taking on or giving an apprenticeship, or did he see potential in you and extended that to you?
He just saw the diamond in the rough, man.
Oh, look at you, you little
Oh,
cocky
so this is how
thing.
it happened. Look, listen, I walked in there like, because remember, my back is done. I had no other option. So I walk into the first day of training and I'm like, in the back of my head, let him ask me to stay. Let him ask me to stay. Legit, that was my mantra that I walked in with, never expecting that it would actually happen. So the last day of training, I got trained by Fernando and John Chandler.
Dope.
The last day of training, we're on the last model, and out of nowhere, John Chandler leans in and says, ask Fernando for an apprenticeship. He says it, he whispers it into my ear. So I was like, oh shit, this could possibly happen, you know? And then I didn't even have to do that. Like we were towards the end and then Fernando says, hey, do you want to step outside? I need to speak with you about something. And then I said, okay. So I stepped outside, we were in the parking lot and he says, what do you want to do with this? I said, I would like to have my own studio. That's the ultimate goal. That's my dream. And then he was like, I fully support that. He's like, but why don't you stay on board with me so that you can sort of perfect what it is that you're going to offer people and then step out from that place instead of stepping out from like a place of still like juggling everything and learning and like, and so he offered it to me. And of course I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know, let's do it.
That's awesome. I wish Juan Collado did that to me, but he was like, listen, man, this is what we got for you. You got a master's class, spend another day with me and off you go. Yo, why you got to do me like that, Jerome? Nah, they always helped me out.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, the stars really aligned in a way that just benefited me. That's awesome. The SMP gods were looking down favorably on me.
That's awesome. And now because of that, you're looking to provide the same value to someone else, make sure that they go and move forward and be successful.
Yeah. Also what that taught me is that it quickly showed me the level of effort and commitment and focus that it takes to produce that type of work. You understand? Because people don't know, like we said, they don't know. So they go in and say, I'm gonna just throw some dots down and it's gonna be like badass. That's gonna be fierce. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand the level of sustained focus, especially when you're working with nothing, like a full bald head canvas, like you're creating something out of nothing. That's gonna require a high degree of sustained focus. And if you don't do that, then you're not gonna achieve it. You know, you're just not.
Yeah, man, there's so much that goes into it, which is great because it gravitates, well, it leads into my next question. When do you feel that artists should branch out into training? Because obviously there's, again, you said it's so much more than just dots. Like there's a lot of shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think there isn't a necessary like time frame for everyone, because there are people who are, you know, like who pick up stuff quicker. You know what I'm saying? I think it just depends on the body of work. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the body of work and that they have the necessary knowledge to impart that to other people. You know what I'm saying? I think those are the two components that are the most important: the knowledge and the work, the knowledge and the work.
So how about this? You say, you know, the body of work. Would you consider anywhere from 10 to 20 clients sufficient amount for body of work?
No. I would say at the very minimum, it would have to be 100.
I didn't expect you to go lower than that for some reason. I was like, he's gonna say like 100, 150, which I agree, because I my 60th head I completed, and I was like, I'm missing something, and that's when I went and I got my master's training. But I was like, you know what, something's up. So I was like, you know, at 100, I get it. All right, got you. So now let's talk about, tell me one tip that you know now that you wish you knew when you started out in SMP.
I wish that I knew that two things need to come together, at least as I see it. And that is like sound technical ability, and then sort of an understanding of controlled irregularity, right?
Got you.
Because the artists that I look at, that I'm like, damn, there's a combination of that, right? There is that their sound, like their technique is tight, like they've mastered the art of making impressions that are uniform and that look the same. But then when you couple that with a sort of controlled irregularity, you're like, at least for me, like, I'm not allowing the needle to hit the skin with the same amount of control that I am at the beginning. So at the beginning, I want to lay down a foundation of like even impressions, right? And then I want to add to that the irregularity that I'm still controlling, but I'm not micromanaging like those first impressions. Does that make sense? And when you don't know that, you're like, you compare your work to someone like that's so high level, and you're like, damn, like,
Yeah, how do I attain that?
It's not even close to that level of texture, that level of just like, you know, when you look at it, it's interesting. It's at the top, you know? And so those things, if I had known those two things needed to be present, I would have been a lot less hard on myself, you know?
So that was like an aha moment for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got you. And now let's talk about some of the tools. Actually, not some of the tools. Let's talk about a tool that you use that's instrumental in how you function as an SMP business.
Say that again.
What's one tool that you use right now that you're implementing that's instrumental to how you conduct business?
Sorry, yeah, like, yeah. So I have a friend who has taken existing software and he has tailored it for the SMP industry, right? And it's fantastic for people who are starting out, because when you first start out, what you're trying to do is drive traffic, right? You're trying to drive traffic to your website, hopefully that you have. But this software, which is called Go High Lead, is something that you add to supplement to your website, provided that you are paying for like traffic, like that you have somebody doing your marketing and that you're driving traffic to your website, right? And what it does is it creates lead magnets that really prompt people to interact with your website. And then they're much more keen to book a consultation or to ask a question. And once you have them in that situation of interaction, it's much easier to bring them in, to land the lead. You know what I'm saying? So I had my website, and I'm, you know, my business is new. I've been three months, not even. So like I had a website, you know, I'm paying for traffic, whatever. I'm getting a decent response, but the only lead magnets in my website are the form and my phone number.
Right.
What I'm saying. And when they were performing okay, but when I added this, and he offered it to me for free, right? Because he was like, he was that sure about it that he was like, I just want you to use it for free. And you're not going to pay for it until you tell me you love it. I still haven't loved it.
Like, no, I don't love it ever.
but you know what I'm saying? Like it performed exactly the way that he said it would perform. So with, you know, with a pop-up, with a chat widget that are really interactive, like you'd be surprised. Like, so like I doubled my leads. Okay, no, I'm lying. Like the software brought in more leads than my marketing company.
Really?
I swear to God, like it was just, it's what it is. It's what it is.
So how does this work, Dennis? And I'm sorry that I cut you off, brother. How is it that this works? Like, is it something that you yourself, the artist, is it like a you can just add in? Is it like with HTML codes, like, or is it something that a second party needs access to the website? Like,
well, if you own your website outright, then you just need to, you know, really contact someone who knows how to add it to your website. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Integrate it to your website. And then that's pretty much it, you know, and then it's just simplified in such a way that's fantastic. You know, they get automated texts, they get automated emails. It helps you follow up on your leads, which is fantastic. Like for someone, for me, who I told you, like I was always like the creative. I was never in that regimented world of business. You know what I'm saying? So to have that simplified for me in that way and to have it perform in the way that it did, I think it's amazing. And I think especially new artists, because if you already established, like you got an influx of leads, like, because you're already there, you know what I'm saying? But like, especially for new people, it would be highly beneficial to generate traffic.
Awesome. And this has, you've seen a tremendous amount of success with this. What is it again? What is it?
It's
It's a
called Go High Lead.
Go Hide
High
Lead.
Lead. And yeah, my friend's name is Chris Helms. You can find him on the groups. He's in there. He's a fairly new artist. He's actually somebody that we train at Hairline.
Awesome.
So he modified the website, and then he used it as a brand new artist, and he's killing it. He's like murdering it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like bringing in people. So with that knowledge that it worked, he approached me because he wanted to introduce it to a more established artist that would then speak on it for him. You know what I'm saying? But the only reason that I'm speaking on it is because I tried it. I've tested it. So anyway, yeah, that's a hell of a plug you just got, Chris. But
Chris,
but yeah, so yeah, I would really look into it.
Hey, Chris, listen, this podcast gets sent to over 12,000 other SMP artists around the world. Thanks to our sponsors, Team Micro. Give them a quick shout out real quick. Chris, I'm going to be hitting you up, bro. I won't do that. So what are the tools that you're using, brother? What machine you use? What are your needles?
I'm using the 5 p.m. line exclusively right now. The machine, the Archer. I'm using the needles, which are amazing. I mean, I don't know if you've tried them, but they are fantastic.
I have not, but I will be 100% transparent. Everyone that I've spoken to that uses them were like, yo, like these things hit, like they're incredibly sharp. So
yeah, they're just so precise. And what I like about them the most is that they retain pigment so long that you really like go for a while before you even have to redip. The sharpness and the precision is there. There's other brands that are super sharp, super precise, but just the level of how much it actually holds before you have to even think about redipping. Yeah, amazing.
You know, I remember speaking about that, about the amount of impressions that you could actually make before you have to redip to artists when we were in Arizona, and they kind of looked at me like, who gives a shit? And I'm kind of like, dude, that makes a difference for me because it's alleviating me from breaking that focus.
Yeah.
So when they were like, I don't give a crap about how many times I have to dip. They was like, really? Like, you one of those guys? So I retract. I was kind of like, hey, that's just me. So, you know,
yeah, I don't think they've really thought that statement through because, like, yeah, if you have to keep dipping, it's interrupting your flow. I mean, you can get right back to it. It's not going to make or break the treatment, but it's definitely nice to not have to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the needles. And if you got good pigment and if you could lay down a good 100 impressions or more before you got to redip, I like staying in that Zen mode and not having to constantly So you're using the Archer and you're using the 5 p.m. needles, obviously. Out of those needles, I know they offer various sizes. What are your go-tos?
It's the 8, the 08.
Is that something that you can do an entire procedure with? Do you find yourself coming down to a smaller needle, like with the hairline? Or
usually I use one needle for the entire procedure, and just adjust my pressure as I make my way to the hairline. That's how I normally do it. Yeah.
So now
occasionally I'll be like, let me try a 6, whatever, you know, and it's good because you have to think less about the pressure because the impression is just going to be naturally smaller. But you know, if I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to go over there and get another needle, I just keep going and just adjust my pressure.
So you kind of dropped a little gem there. So essentially with an 08, with an 8, if you wanted to replicate a 6, I don't want to say it's as simple as adjusting your pressure because that's a whole other level of being an SMP artist when you understand how to manipulate the depth and like that hit to make it a smaller.
Absolutely. You can make it a bigger or smaller impression.
Yeah, but no, it's a good gem because a lot of newbies that listen to this have no idea that you can replicate another size needle with the control of, you know, your depth and speed.
It's nice to have the variety, especially, you know, for the newbies, because they have to worry, you know, they haven't gotten to the point where their pressure is like completely on point. So it's good to have the needle and use it. That's what it's there for. And then as you get better, you can play with it. That's the thing about it. Like as you improve, you can improvise, you can play with, you know, how you do something. You know, I don't always break the hairline the same way. Like it's just, you know, because there's a level of flexibility that comes with that experience.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we get lazy too. I'm not switching it out. I know for sure. I was one of those. I started. I don't know if did you ever find yourself? You have like 3 different needles on your tray, and then it's like, all right, let me switch it out, and then you forget, like, all right, damn, which one is which now? So it's like,
all the time. At one point, all the time. Yeah.
I'm taking one needle and that's it. So all right, so you got those needles, you got the Archer. Now, do you see yourself still in this industry in the next 5 years?
Yeah, for sure.
Going the long haul.
Yeah, I mean, I love the industry. You know, I love what it's given me. I love giving back to people in a way that I can really relate and connect to, having been through hair loss myself. Yeah, I'm here to stay for the long haul.
Awesome. And now, how about the industry itself? Where would you like to see our industry in the future?
I would just like, I'm torn. Like sometimes I feel like it needs regulation, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I hate regulation, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like that sort of like that, like Pandora's box. Once you open that door, you really don't know what's going to come through. And I hate, like, you know, just like being micromanaged from some outside like power source, you know, that says that I need to do A, B, and C. But I think that we need to sort of like find a happy middle where there is some level of regulation so that you don't see the horror that you see out there now, you know. And I'm in Florida, so it's like there's a lot of out there. But yeah, so I just see it like just becoming more elevated, becoming more sophisticated. I hope, you know, having more practitioners that are operating at a high level, having training that really emphasizes mentorship, in order to give the students what they really need post-training. Yeah, I mean, I see it just growing. It's just gonna grow, you know, grow. And as, you know, artists that are at our level, I think it's our like duty to make sure that, you know, the steps are taken so that it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, you know, we got to be held to a certain level where we help maintain the integrity, because right now is a little.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be like that element where it's like, you know, people don't want to take the time and take the necessary steps to do what they have to do to, you know, be successful and be good artists. There's always going to be that. There's always going to be that person that's in their basement selling it for $500, you know, doing a horrible job. But what can you do? I think taking steps to try to minimize that is important.
Yeah, thinking that SMP is a get rich quick scheme. $500 procedures until they realize the amount of work, you know, the 9-10 hours you spend on a client. You're like, shit, I just charged.
Well, that's the reality check. That's the reality check, you know.
Sure. So Dennis, man, before we wrap things up, brother, just let everybody know where they can find you online.
Yeah, so I'm at Vanguard SMP for Instagram, same for Facebook. Those are the main 2 platforms you can find me on. Yeah, that's
what's the website?
www.vanguardsmp.com. Simple, all the way through, uniform.
There you go, my man. Make it simple for everybody. So Dennis, again, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and chopping it up with us, dropping a couple of gems. I love your work. You're an awesome dude, bro. And I can't wait to see what else you're going to be bringing forward for our industry.
Thank you, man. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. It's been real. It's been fun.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Hopefully I'll see you in Tulum.
Next time we link up, bro, we'll get a drink. It'll be more than just a hungover handshake.
That's exactly what it was.
Awesome,
all right, bro.
Man. All right, my brother. I appreciate you. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Until the next time, peace.